Hello. Sorry, I'm just setting up here. Okay. Get my TikTok going here. It's a parenting Q&A. Oops, I'm on the wrong channel. And go live. Okay. So I'm a parenting coach, and my audience is really on TikTok. So I'm just waiting for them to turn up now. Oh, I got someone watching on. That's what's different. When I do a YouTube live, I can't see who's in here. Oh, okay. Or maybe I can. No, anyway. Okay. Hello. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out YouTube. I'm recording these on YouTube now also. So, because that's where I'm saving them. I got like hundreds of them. Hi, Dot. I've got hundreds of them saved up on TikTok. But then my daughter said, well, I didn't know what to do with them, right? All these lives. So now they're all on YouTube. So, okay, while you're turning up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. And so where do you live? What part of the world are you from? By the way, something of mine has been hacked. So I've just changed all my passwords everywhere. So if you're getting weird emails from me, you look at the email. It's either Lisa at Bratbusters. It'll have Bratbusters in it. But yeah, all sorts of like telephone companies and that saying they're me. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I've changed everything. Ireland. Hi, Ireland. And Cape Town, South Africa. Hello. That's a long way away. I had a friend once, years and years ago, and he's very fit. He rides his bike everywhere. And they were working in Cape Town. And he didn't know this, but late at night, he rode his bike home. And he said it was evidently not a safe thing to do late at night on your own on a bike. And he was riding down, he had to ride down the center line because if he rode on either side of the street, people were grabbing at him. I always remembered that. It was funny. So he rode literally right down a busy road, right down the center lane with traffic coming at him from both directions. He said, I'd rather be killed by a car than grabbed and mugged or beaten up. That's all I know about Cape Town. It's the only person I ever know who's been there. I'm sure it's not all that dangerous, but that just struck me as funny. Okay. Yes, you are allowed to ask questions. I'm waiting for people to turn up. So if you let me know where you're from, that's what I like to do. I always open with that. So I'm in Vancouver, Canada. Always interested in where people are from. So, yes, LOL, never safe to travel on a bike in Cape Town. That's funny. Yeah, he had a great sense of humor when he was telling it. We were just cracking up. He embellished it all, I'm sure, too, but it's hilarious. Okay, so I'm from South Africa. Hello. My daughter went to Africa for 3 months when she was 18. She went with her high school. She went to, starts with a Z. It wasn't Zimbabwe. Anyway, she just loved it. She taught in the school there and just absolutely loved it. She goes, it was interesting because it was like the men are in charge, but she goes, really, it wasn't. The women were in charge. The men were all kind of afraid of the women. She just loved it. She thought it was great. The women were very protective of these girls who'd come in from the college. So whenever a guy would get out of line, the women would all just come in and they were running. The guys would be running. I'm from Montana. Hi, Montana. Okay, so let's get going. If you go on my website, it's bratbusters.com. You can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. My course filled up, the Calm Leadership Parenting course filled up with the coaching involved. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to wait weeks now before anyone else can join. So I thought, what I did was I just went in, I took out the coaching, dropped down the price so you can get it all in a big bundle without the group coaching. So it's now available again. And but just without the group coaching. I don't know how I'm going to work that. I may never do the group coaching again because someone said that they get frustrated if they can't turn up on those group coaching days. And anyway, I'm just, it's all new. I'm just figuring all this out. So and you can always hire me for a session anyway after the course is done, which anyway, and that would be a private one. Shoot, my email's been hacked. I just got another email. Anyway, okay, so parenting questions. Oh, and my behavior board is free on my website. That teaches you how to give respect to get it. Anyway, sorry, I'm just distracted because my email's been hacked. I don't know if it's my email though. I don't know something's been hacked, but I changed everything. So everything that's important that has anything to do with clients. But one wasn't a client, so I don't know where they're getting it from. It's one of those things. If people can hack you if they want to, right? It's the first time I've ever been hacked, though. Okay. I need to know the age. If you ask a question, I need to know the age. Toddler is okay, then I know the age. But are they 16 or 6 or 2? I need to know an age if it's something that could be any age. Oh, toddler who's turning 2 next week, he hates sharing. And yeah, you can't teach them how to share at that age. Sorry, you're just gonna have to wait that one out. Yeah, can't teach them how to share at that age. If you figure it out, can you let me know? Yeah, I've never. Toddlers are kind of a waiting game. They're kind of crazy. They don't make a lot of sense. You can't reason with them or anything. So yeah, it's just certain things you just have to wait. They'll eventually learn. How do I get my twin toddlers to stop biting each other? So if they're biting, you just have to do the separation game. Just keep separating them constantly. Every time they bite, you say no, no. They will, because it's consistent corrective action with toddlers. It's not words. So every single time they bite or go to bite, you have to separate them. But you have to be on top of that. They're going to remember the times that they were allowed to get at each other. It's going to be probably a good week of hell. But yeah. You pretend that someone wrote something. Huh? Oh, I see. Oh, you're just a kid. Okay, I get kids on here all the time. Okay. Please, what do I do about the tantrum my 2-year-old throws? It's embarrassing in public. Okay, so if it's embarrassing you in public, they have all the power. Don't let that bother you. I was proud of how I handled them. I wanted people to see me handling a tantrum. So, because people are never looking at your kid, they're always looking at you. So who cares if they're having a tantrum in public? Just make sure that they're not disrupting people in their daily life. Like you would allow that in a restaurant. I would take them out to the parking lot and ignore them out there. You can't be a different parent when you're out in public than you are at home. I was 100% predictable. So like 100%. My kids knew exactly how I was going to act no matter where we were. I didn't become a different parent when we were out. Absolutely not. How do I get our 4-year-old to stop telling us no to everything we tell him to do? That's not about him. It's not him. You can't fix him. You're just lack leadership skills. That's the only reason why he's saying no to you. That's a tell to me. It just means you're not a leader. Work on your leadership skills and that won't happen. We don't fix kids. We teach parents. When you're a leader, you lead and they will follow. They just do. That disrespect comes from your lack of leadership. That's all it is. Pretty much guaranteed. That's all it is. Okay. Great advice. Thank you so much. What was that about? Did I have some good advice there? Sometimes I throw stuff out there and I think, does this make sense to other people? It always makes sense to me. Oh, out in public, yeah. If they think that you're going to be different, softer, easier to push around, they can wipe their feet on you when they're out in public. Watch out. They got you by the knackers. Okay. By the way, my course is now available without the coaching. It filled up. I thought, how am I going to deliver this course? Because I hate having to pull it down, but I had to limit the amount of people who were in the coaching one. So now I've taken off the coaching, dropped the price, so it's just on lessons online now. And it teaches you how to be a calm leader. It's 5 weeks. It's a very intensive course, but it's 5 weeks. So yeah, so it's available again. I know I got a lot of emails. I had to take it down because it filled up. So, but now there's no limit to how many people can sign up because I'm not coaching. And if you really want my help, you can always hire me for a session on the side, probably once you're done with it, and see how it's going. I probably should have put that in the course, but anyway, I won't bother. It's all done. I need help with my 15-year-old. Well, that you'd have to hire me usually teenage stuff is usually you have to hire me. It's not what you want. Parents never get what they want in that first session with teenagers. They always say, how can I discipline a teenager? I say, well, you're not there yet. Maybe by week 3, we'll discipline them. But the first 2 weeks, like usually it's 5 weeks, the first 2 weeks is how to bond with your teenager, how to get some reciprocity going. Okay, because you got to give respect to get it. And you got to give, 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 give. Then you get. But give, give, give. You have to give so much more than you want to. And parents often say, but this isn't fair. You know, I give all the time. And I'm like, right, welcome to parenting teenagers. That's what it's all about. It's not supposed to be. Not supposed to be fair. My niece is, I don't talk about your other people's kids. I only talk to parents. Because if I told you something to do with someone else's kid and they didn't like it, you see what I mean? I never interfered with other people's kids. And I won't, my grandkids, none of my business. Is it normal for my 3-year-old to yell sarcastically every time I try to correct him? How do I stop it? That just is a tell, means they don't respect you. You got to work on your leadership skills. Remember that kind of attitude is just a direct result of your lack of leadership. Once you set yourself up as a leader, they just don't do that. They just don't. It would almost be embarrassing for them to do that because they look up to you. They want to please you. You're their mentor. Work on your leadership skills. It all starts and ends with you. It has nothing to do with your kids, really. I don't teach how to be a kid. I teach leadership skills with parents. I teach parenting, not kidding. I was able to get respect from kids of all ages, hundreds of them. Was it them or was it me? It's me. It's you. It's your leadership skills or lack of. It's all it is. We don't fix kids. We fix ourselves. That's all it is. Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. This comes up more than you would think it would. Food hoarders, um, kids who hoard food. It's okay. That one is a tricky one for me because it's almost like, well, why have they got tics or what? It could be like almost like a Tourette syndrome. It could be almost something like that, something in them, some condition in them. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I would have to assess the situation. Then you get some management skills around that to help you with it. But it might be something that they just have in them. It can be like something they're born with, evidently. There's just something wired a little bit different in their head and they hoard food. Other times it isn't. Other times it's something that you can just get to the bottom of it and fix it up. Otherwise, you have to learn how to manage it. If you want my help with that, I can't help you in here. I need a lot of context. I need to ask a lot of questions. I need to assess the situation. If you want to hire me, that's bratbusters.com. Anyway. Okay, just a sec. Jamie Lou. Oh, steal food. Yeah, there's stuff going on. That's too big for here. I don't know. It's like what you're telling me is the symptoms of what's going on, but I need the cause. So the cause is coaching. With the big stuff like that, that's a bigger thing. I don't understand. Is this a question or so I'll have to keep going? Don't give up, mamas. Yeah, this is all learnable. It's a learnable skill. It's not like you have to be born knowing how to parent. It's something you learn. I don't know why this fallacy is out there that parenting should come naturally. I don't agree with that. It kind of did with me, I'll admit, but no, it didn't. I was obsessed with figuring kids out when I was a kid. I just always was trying to figure people out. And then as I got older, I just found kids fascinating because they're sort of the best of us and the worst of us. They're the true us. They're before they get all those sort of covers going and all that sort of smoke and mirror stuff going that we all get, socially. It's just the way it works out. So I just find kids fascinating. They are fascinating. They're the best and the worst of us. They're just us. So that's where we all started. So yeah, I did study kids for a long time, but I was fascinated in studying them. That's why I do this. And most people don't have that obsessive interest in trying to figure kids out, especially teenagers. I found them interesting because I thought if I could figure kids out, I could figure myself and life out. That's the way I viewed it. That's where the base of all of us come from. So yeah, it doesn't come naturally to everybody. Parenting's the hardest job in the world with the least amount of training, and yet everyone expects you to be an expert, especially you. It doesn't make any sense at all. No sense at all. When is my toddler an angel at home, it doesn't listen when outside the house. That's a tell. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. That you're a different parent when you're out. So yeah, be consistent. That I've seen this a lot. A lot. Parents will say, "Oh, it's just so easy at home," and then you're out, and I can see what what you're doing when you're out, and I'm thinking, well, if you're like that at home, you must be difficult at home too. And they say, "Oh no, I'm different at home," and I'm like, "Well, there you go. You got to be consistent." They don't get the idea of when you're out, you should. They have a different parent. They don't understand that. Oh, good one. Oh, I got such a good one for this. 9-year-old uses the excuse, "I forgot," when they don't do what I asked them to do. How do I fix that? Okay, put on the behavior board something like this. Just pick something, pick a battle. Say follow chore chart, and then have a chore chart separately, and it's make it simple, and put a time on it or an amount, and make it quantifiable or I used the wrong word. Anyway, make it so there's a time or an amount, so they have to clean so many things by a certain time. So it has to be absolutely not arguable. If it's not done by 10 a.m., it's not done. So anyway, put that down there. And then, so it's 10:01, and they haven't done the chore chart, but it had to be done by 10. Okay, make it easy and doable because you're teaching them a lesson here. So, and you're learning how to do this too. So then 10:01, you say, let's go to the behavior board. So you go to the behavior board and you say, look, the rule was you have to do your chores by 10 a.m. and it's now after 10. Okay, I forgot. I'd say, well, doesn't matter. So then this is the consequence. That's not fair. I forgot. Well, you'll know next time, won't you? That's the behavior board says by 10 and it wasn't done by 10. And so you see, this has to be a consequence. That would be like if the police pulled you over and for speeding and you said, I forgot. You think they're going to, you know what I mean? Like you got to teach them how to be accountable. The words I forgot is like, well, you'll know next time, won't you? You'll learn to remember. That's on you. That's your responsibility to remember. But be fair and reasonable. Remember I said, make that chore chart easy and doable. Don't have these huge expectations that I would probably say I forgot if you expected too much of me too. Oh, I forgot, So make it doable, make it manageable, set them up to succeed. But when they don't, because they're manipulating you like that, I forgot, say, well, you'll know next time, won't you? Here's the consequence. And then they'll often rush to do the chores and say, well, you can do it now too, but the consequence is still happening. That's not fair. Well, I don't get into those conversations. You'll know next time, won't you? Because this is a 9-year-old. You don't talk like that with a 3-year-old. How do you deal with difficult parents affecting our child? Yeah. Okay. There's not much you can do about that. This comes up a lot in coaching with parents. And all you can do is be a leader yourself. Your children, when they're 3.5, around that age, they just carry your leadership umbrella everywhere they go. So when they respect you and you're a good leader at home, they tend to be the same person with everybody. It kind of flows out everywhere because they like themselves when they're with you. It's just the way it is. When you're a good leader, their self-esteem goes up and they like themselves. So, but yeah, they care. I can't tell you how to tell other people how to parent. I don't do that. Like, it's just impossible. Do you believe a child under the age of 6 months considered to be spoiled? No, I don't. I think that's ridiculous. When my kids cried, I picked them up. Like when my babies cried, I picked them up every time. And can you spoil that? That goes under the theory, can you spoil a baby with love? I think that's ridiculous. No. So yeah, their needs are all physical. It's a lot of like hugging. They're not exploring their world yet. That's why. So you haven't been replaced by anything else yet. You're it, right? So yeah. Do you recommend ignoring a tantrum in public? Example, a grocery store. It depends. If it's busy and loud anyway, yeah, just say to people, sorry, because they're rushing through. They're not trying to relax anyway. Restaurants are different. People are trying to relax. That's different. But yeah, if it's that disruptive, I would take them out of the store. And if it's that awful. But if it's just an environment where you're going to get through it and you have to do it, I don't worry too much about grocery stores. There's a lot of tantrums that go on in grocery stores. Why do parents enable children's behavior? Well, that's not a fair question. Like, what I mean is, do they do it on purpose? No, they just don't know how to be a leader yet. That's all. They don't do it on purpose. It's a very judgmental statement. Okay. How do you handle a 2.5-year-old not wanting to eat his meals at mealtime? Watch out with the snacks. Toddlers tend to be grazers. They eat a little bit all day long. So the snacks, make them really light. like nothing heavy, right? So make it just like some fruit or something if you want them to eat meals. I'm more of a grazer. I never liked meals. My mom could never figure that out. She liked 3 meals a day, and I could graze all day. That's my style. I was born that way. I still am 62. I still prefer grazing. And so yeah, it might just be some kids are more like that. But also watch out what the snacks are. And toddlers don't usually eat nearly as much as parents think they should. They have very tiny little stomachs. They don't need as much food as you think they do usually. When you do feed them stuff, make sure it's high energy, or pardon me, highly nutritional food, because they're not eating a lot. So make sure it's nutritional. I didn't have junk food in the house, so when my kids had choices, you can have this healthy food or that healthy food, and I made everything from scratch. So they didn't have any options. So they were eating pretty. It wasn't perfect. They were eating pretty healthy all the time. Like there was no chicken nugget kind of food, you know, certainly not when they were toddlers. Oh, there's this comedian I was watching recently, and he was talking about Pringles potato chips when they first came out. He said that the authorities or whatever, the Food Administration, wouldn't let them call them chips. They had to call them crisps because they weren't made from potato chips. And he says, well, duh, they're all exactly the same shape, like a saddle. They're all like, he says, like we didn't know that. And he says, calling them crisps made no difference to us whatsoever. We still ate them. But yeah, watch what you give your kids. Like give them whole foods if you can, and just feed them healthy. Then you don't have to worry about it, right? Plus, if you're not giving them sugar, sugar's really bad, evidently, and that I actually don't even like sugar. It's really bad in that it gets them craving to eat more, and it tends to be not nutritious stuff. So, and by the way, fruit sugar is different. It's fructose, so it metabolizes a little bit differently. It's just different, evidently. So it's a healthy way to get sugar into them. But yeah, watch the sugary treats. It tends to make them graze more, and yeah, and then they get a real sweet tooth. I've got a salt tooth, but they've got, most people have a sweet tooth. So, and then that's why they don't want dinner, because it's not sweet, right? Can you hear that person out in the hallway sneezing? Mhm. At what age can sharing start? How can I work on this with my 2-year-old? Yeah, if they hit anyone, if they grab something out of their hand, I would say no, and I would give the toy back to the other one. But yeah, they will eventually learn. Usually, other kids teach them that. They don't get away with that at preschool or anything for very long. Other kids, some kid will probably belt them. Like it's just the way it goes. If they're grabbing toys all the time, some kid will teach them how to share. Sorry, but it's a social skill usually. Um, And then I talk a lot about sharing too. I have three very specific methods teaching kids how to share, but 2.5 is too young. Like by the age of 3, they can start to learn how to share. If you want me to talk about those, I will. The methods. Okay. In your opinion, do you think it's better for better for a 4-year-old to go to school all day or half day? Well, you asked me the way you worded that. In my opinion, I don't use my opinions in this business. Like I use tried and true methods that I've used. My opinion, I don't give that out very often. Like what I mean is that's my own opinion, because there is no right and wrong with that. Half day, full day. My son was more half day. He liked his own time at home to be able to do his activities. He loved his Lego. My daughter just wanted to be around people all the time. It was either hanging around me all the time or hanging around kids at school. So I put her full time in preschool, 5 days a week, whereas my son was 2.5, because he was much better in entertainment. He liked that time. But, they're all different, right? So yeah, I don't have an opinion on it. There we go. It's like asking me about homeschooling, co-sleeping. I do have opinions on it, but it's not like in what I would do. But yeah, it's not results driven. Uh, so yeah. How do I get my 8-year-old to listen to me? Well, they will listen when you're a leader. They just do. They're naturally drawn to leaders. They want to please leaders, especially at that age. So you set yourself up as a leader and they will listen. If they're not listening, it's just because you're not a leader. That's all it is. It's you. It's all you. It's nothing to do with them. Or very little. What good behavior is fair to expect from a 2.5-year-old? Not much. They're just kind of crazy at that age. There are one marble and some tumbleweed floating around. Some are just really passive and easy little kids. I would say both my kids were more on the easy side, my daughter for sure, but my son had tantrums. They're all different. They're all, there is no good behavior because they don't understand it. They're not there yet. You can't reason with them. They have no reasoning yet. Think about if you're a 2-year-old and you've only been on this earth in the world for 2 years, and for one of those you were a potato laying on the floor. I mean, think about it. How much context do they have between what's good and what's bad? They don't understand if I run in front of traffic, I might get killed. They have no context of the world yet. So yeah, tips on being a leader. I would say as they get older, especially, the number one skill for sure is listening. Guaranteed it's listening. You listen to understand and show empathy, and then you stop talking. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. That they will shut you down. In the teen years, they won't talk to you. But yeah, if you listen to understand and show empathy, oh yeah, that would be frustrating. And then just shut up. You know how hard that was for me? I love talking. Anyway, but I knew, because I worked with so many kids, I knew. Listen to understand and then just stop talking. And then if they want your advice, they will ask. So listening is number one for sure. And then as they get older, 9, 10, 12 and up, especially teenagers, negotiating. They need to have a say in how their life goes. Mine did from a very young age, but it's harder to teach parents that. But mine did from the age of, I asked them everything. Well, what do you think is fair? So you don't want to go to bed at 7? What time do you think is fair? Oh, maybe 7:30 or maybe a little bit later or whatever. And I'd say, yeah, okay, that's fair enough because you do get up early. So yeah, we'll give it a go. They had a say in everything pretty much, but they were reasonable because it was respect. And then I'd say, no, I'm going to keep it at 7. Oh, okay. There was no arguing. Negotiating is different from arguing. So yeah, being a good listener and learning how to negotiate, give your children a say in how their life goes. And then they learn that if they come at you with a respectful and reasonable request or idea, you'll probably say, yeah, that is a better idea than mine. You see? But if they come at you, I don't want to go to bed. It's not negotiating. That's not respectful. I wouldn't answer that. Like I would deal with that. I wouldn't answer that. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. My 2-year-old tantrums a lot. I've been ignoring his tantrums for a while, but it's not working. Well, it usually takes a good 2 to 3 weeks. Also, something else is going on. I don't know what it is. There's something else going on because are you meeting his needs and managing his wants? That's what leadership's all about. Are you meeting his needs and managing his wants? His wants are ignoring the tantrums, but if you're not meeting his needs, none of that works. None of this stuff works if you're not meeting their needs. Their needs are, they need to feel valued. They need to have fun. Yeah, so I don't know. You might want to hire me and I could probably figure it out pretty quick. Okay. Because this is what parents do. They'll take I've tried that one thing that you do, but that's all they'll do. They'll just ignore tantrums, but they're doing all this other stuff that I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? It's like saying your diet doesn't work. I'm eating salad every day, but I'm also eating bags of chips and an ice cream and all that too. But the salad, it's not working. It's just not working. It's like that. It's a diet. It's a plan. It's a system. You have to kind of learn to put stuff together. That's what coaching's all about. Or if you watch me long enough, it all starts to make sense. This is free, but the coaching isn't. How do you ignore severe tantrums? Severely ignore them. Whenever parents always say, how do I avoid tantrums? And I say, why on earth would you want to avoid one? If I was looking after a kid and I saw a tantrum coming on, I'm like, bring it on. There's my opportunity to exercise my leadership. Behind every tantrum or scene or fit is a lesson if you handle it well. So yeah. Sorry. My nails grow like crazy. I hate long nails. Okay. Do you pay for chores? Absolutely not. You live here. You have to contribute. You have to clean up after yourself. But I do believe every child needs to learn how to manage money. I do have a video. It went viral. I actually pinned it to the top. I don't think anyone would even look at that video. Anyway, it's at the top of my TikTok, and it's called Allowance versus Chores, and it explains all that. Do you answer? How do you stop making him talk back to me? He is 8. It depends on what's going on there. What's going on? Like I said, you can't just ignore all that stuff if you haven't got other stuff in place. So yeah, I don't know. If he's talking back, generally I say ignore it, but if he's 8 and he's still doing it, you got to work on your leadership skills. So I would start with the behavior board. You can do that on your own, see if it works. Otherwise, you can hire me. I actually have a whole course on learning how to become a calm leader. It filled up with the group coaching, so now it's out there just on its own. Of course, I've dropped the price dramatically because there's no group coaching, but it's a 5-week course and it teaches you how to give respect to get it over a period of 5 weeks. It's a perfect age to be doing this too. 8 years old. You'll see in the course, and I touch on everything that parents sort of have mentioned they want to talk about. And I based it all on, like I've been coaching for 17 years now, and I paste it all out. But when I don't even know if I'm going to do this in future because it just didn't work out because I didn't realize it was capped. There's an amount capping on how many people I can handle in group coaching. Whereas now it's just out there on my website now without the coaching, so you can get that. But yeah, try and pace yourself out. If you're really struggling in that course 1 week and you just can't get it done, drag it out for another week. You want to sort of week 1, week 2, week 3, up to week 5. If you're going away on holidays or something, you might have to drag it out. But yeah, it's all laid out exactly how you should be paced. So if you're going to buy that course, you read through the whole course first, and then you start week 1 and just do week 1. And then all the additional tips, I've just spaced them all out. They're all throughout the whole course. Tips on sex education, online safety, media management, bullying, all those tips are included. They're thrown in there intermittently throughout the course. But the lessons you do week 1, week 2, week 3. But yeah, people got great results in that, so I'm really happy with it. Okay. How do I get my son to do what he's asked the first time? You set yourself up as a leader and you will never have to repeat yourself again. Like I would never repeat it myself. If I did, my kids would have gone, what? I just didn't. But also I was very fair and reasonable. When I asked them to do something, it was doable and they knew the rules and it was just no big deal. It wasn't a big deal. They might say to me, hey, can we watch TV? Sure. Have you done your chores? Oh, I forgot. Sure. Have you done your homework? Oh, right. Okay, I'll do that first. There was none of this. So yeah, if you're repeating yourself, they've trained you to do that. You fell right into the trap. You just take action. If they're not listening, you take action. There's a consequence. But are you being fair and reasonable? Are you a leader? Can't have a consequence if you're not a good leader, like if you're not organized with all this. That's why the behavior board, it's very specifically 1 rule per week. In the course, the Calm Leadership course I go into in week 4, you start in the moment discipline. And you kind of want to get rid of the behavior boards. I've never used one. They're just there to teach you how to do this. But then week 4 and week 5, it's all in the moment discipline, learning how to discipline in the moment. It doesn't mean that, you address it in the moment, then you can discipline later. Something like this. Listen, I didn't like what you just did. You could be out somewhere. We'll discuss it after dinner. Do you understand? That's how you deal with it. It gives them time to sweat and you time to think. So that's how you can, I call that delayed punishment. You can delay it, but you're still addressing it. You address everything in the moment. Like if my kids had done something rude or disrespectful, I don't care where I am, who I'm with, they would have got mom's look. And that look would have meant when we get home, we'll be discussing this. So they would have known. How to limit TV, tablet when that's all they demand, age 5. All they demand? Who's in charge there? Boy, I don't even know how to answer that one. How to limit it? Okay, your kid's in charge. You already know that. You check out my course if you're interested. It teaches you how to set yourself up as a calm leader. Otherwise, try my behavior board, or you can hire me for one-on-one coaching. But yeah, you know your kid's in charge. Well, what do you think of moms who hit their kids and why do you think they do? I'm not going to judge them. The only reason they do that is they don't know what else to do. And that's why I'm here. I'm teaching you what else to do. Parents do the best they know how, right? No one is handed a newborn in the hospital. Not one parent ever does this. I'm going to mess you up. Everyone does the best they know how. So yeah, they just don't know how to be a leader. That's all. Oh, I feel it coming on. After a tantrum, do you explain what they did wrong or what you didn't like about her behavior? Why? To what end? Where are you going with that? Samantha said, oh no, yeah, you got me going. To what end? Why? Why these many therapy sessions? Don't you think the lesson has already been learned organically? That felt like crap. They know exactly why they had a tantrum, exactly why you ignored it. It's all organic. It's already explained. They already get it. Why would you drag them through the mud discussing that? Okay, I'm done. Can you explain how to be a leader to a 1-year-old? No, you don't. No, you just love them up at that age. But it's just all affection and playing, and very mild correction if they hit or anything. You just say no, and you make sure there's consistent corrective action. But it's very mild, very mild. Be done. Oh, good luck with that. I might not now. Now that you've said that, I might not. I work with a lot of delinquent teenagers and kids who, snotty. That stuff doesn't work on me. And I know you want attention, so you're getting it. Good for you. Okay. The regulars in here. Yeah. Yeah, the regulars know exactly where I was going. I went there a little. I was very good. See, I controlled myself. I could feel it, though. It's still there. It's just because it comes up. Okay, I'm done. My 2-year-old throws everything. Well, then put everything away. You threw that, you say no, and then you put it away. You threw something else, no, put it away. They will learn. It's consistent corrective action with toddlers. It's not about words. One word is sufficient, no, and then put it away. I wouldn't even say that after a while. As soon as they throw something, just put it away. They'll eventually have everything put up top of the fridge or wherever that they can't reach it. So yeah, they'll eventually learn. But you got to be consistent. That's the problem, is if you do that 99 times and then you forget the 100th time, they're going to remember that one time you didn't do it. It's just the way it is. So make it a project for a week. It's not like you have to, and you think, oh my God, the rest of their lives. No, it usually takes 2 to 7 days to stop that with a little one, to stop the throwing. And then they're going to try it again a week later. And then you got it right away. Got to get in on that. Jordan Peterson still doesn't like you. You're getting a lot of attention here, aren't you? You already said goodbye. What are you doing here? How old are you, by the way? I'm guessing. I'm pretty good at this. 11 or 12, right? I'm good at this. Okay, I'm just going with the way you're talking in that. Okay, what's a good way to approach children fighting over toys? Okay, depends on the age. I have 3 very specific ways of teaching kids how to share. But I'll tell you my favorite example. It's not my favorite, but the one that seems to work with the most parents, is just using a swing as an example. Let's say you have 2 kids in one swing. Make sure you got a watch or a timer, especially something with an alarm is really good. So you say to the kids, okay, and they're going to fight over the swing. You say, I'll tell you what, and we're going to have turns. Every turn is 2 minutes long. I'm going to flip a coin to see who goes first. The first turn only gets 1 minute because you get to go first. Flip the coin, you go on there, here, 1 minute. Beep, beep, time's up, switch over. They'll just get so bored with this. Like they're just going to end up learning how to share. But you're taking charge. You see, you're a leader. You're managing the situation. Thank you so much for the advice about how to tell children to do something without telling them. That's that. If they say, can we please watch TV? And then you say, sure, as soon as you've done your homework, the as soon as method. That's one of my favorites. Can you explain the behavior board? We'd like to try it. Okay, if you're going to do this on your own, it's extremely different in coaching. I'll make it hard because if you fail, we get better results because I know how to fix it. If you're doing this alone, make it easy, doable, manageable. Pick a rule, pick a battle, I call them battles. Pick a rule you know you can win. An easy one. Don't take the hard stuff yet. By week 3, you can get into the hard stuff. But week 1 and week 2, because you want 3 behavior boards, when you're done, that's all you ever go up to. You put down a rule for everybody. Mom and dad, no yelling. Or what? If you yell, you put down no yelling. Make sure you break the rule, by the way, because you want to show how this is how it's done. So then there's a rule and a consequence for everybody. So if you yell, let's say you have to be quiet for a whole day or something, whatever. Check it out. It's free on my website, bratbusters.com. And just follow through. The kids always have 2 consequences, though. There's the positive action. If they won't do that, then there's a negative deprivation. Okay, well, you wouldn't empty the dishwasher as your consequence, so now it's 24-hour media blackout starting now. Do you understand? Not fair. Okay, I'll empty the dishwasher. Well, it's too late for that. You'll know next time. You gotta be tough with this stuff because you've already explained it all. They know they made that choice. That was up to them. I always used to say to my kids, it's your choice. Everything's your choice. How you act, whatever happens, I'm going to make sure you're accountable. That's my job. I'm your mother. I will make sure you're accountable for your actions. That's my job. Believe me, I will make sure. When my kids both started grade 1, I said to the teacher, I said, if my kids ever step a toe out of line, never discipline them. You tell me and I'll deal with them because that's my job. I didn't want to send naughty kids to school. I would have been embarrassed. So, because I was very proud of my parenting. So anyway, so the teachers loved me. My kids never stepped a toe out of line. But if they did, I didn't want the teachers to have to deal with that. That's my job. You got to send nice kids to school. That's your job, right? That's so I took that very seriously. So yeah, the teachers loved me. Um, I know because they kept telling me. Especially by high school, because that's when kids are really annoying in high school. That's where I got all the letters from the principals, more so even as they got older and older, more of that. Oh, don't ask me about other methods because I don't know any of them. I am very uh, yeah, you might be new here, but I'm very everything I've learned has been from kids. I've never read a book on parenting. I don't know anybody else in the parenting realm. I don't know any other methods. I know a lot of um, things that are done, but I don't know who teaches them. I don't know what umbrella they're under. I'm I stay away from all that because that way I don't have to critique or criticize anybody because I wouldn't do that. I think that's kind of tacky. So this way, if I'm criticizing something, I don't know who teaches it. I don't know what method it's under. The only knowledge I have of what's common out there is from what my clients tell me, and even then, I kind of limit what they tell me. But yeah, I'm kid based. Kids taught me all this. I thought I was going to be a child psychologist. I was about 20, and I took a prerequisite course for college, and they kicked me out after a week. I was going to be a child psychologist because I asked too many questions. They were idiots. They were. I mean, I'm sure now they've changed what they teach now. I know they do, but it was all this. I know better. I'm not. Like, you're setting yourself up as this authority and this know-it-all and this pompous, arrogant attitude. I hated it. Hated it. Anyway, I asked question after they hated me, and the other students started asking me questions. They couldn't. I should have held out. They could have paid me double to get me out of there. They would have. They would have done anything to get me out of that class. They hated me, and I thought, thank God I never did that. I would. I could not have operated under that stupid, idiotic umbrella. That would have been 40 plus years ago. And I know they would have. They're smart. They're smarter now. But yeah, it's just a bunch of crap. It was so condescending towards kids. It was condescending. Oh, I hated it. So that's my only experience with any kind of teaching outside of kids. And that didn't go very well. Yeah, I should have held out. They would have paid me a fortune to get rid of me. How to make a 6-year-old respect others' boundaries. I don't know what you're talking about. Is it verbal or touching or what? I don't know what you're talking about. So bedtime drama. Actually, this Saturday, someone has pushed me into a corner. That bedtime battles course has to be out by Saturday, or I have to. There's a consequence for me. So the bedtime battles course will be out by Saturday. I just didn't like it's got too much in it. I gotta edit it. I've got to call a whole bunch of stuff. I made it about a year ago, and it's just got too much information in it. So I'm gonna call it out anyway. But yeah, that'll be available. But basically, this is bedtime. You go to bed. If you get out of bed, the first time they get out of bed, you say, "I said it's bedtime." Put them back in bed. The second time, you say bedtime. Nothing else. Put them back in bed. Every time after that, you don't look at them and you don't talk to them. You are slow, you are calm, and you are consistent. Every time they get out of bed, put them back. Might go for hours. It's usually one night of hell. But then lots of clients say their kids never got out of bed again. They realized there was no point because you're not angry or anything. You just remember discipline is all remove your emotions. It's all like you're like robotic when you're doing it. It's very calm. That's why I call it calm leadership. You're a leader, but you're very calm. The rest of the time you're crazy. So it's not really because most of this stuff should be fun. Most of parenting should just be fun and being crazy. But the discipline, which is what everyone wants to know, that's calm. Absolutely calm. I was crazy. Very crazy. My son used to say, if my mom ever whispers, run, because that's what I'm disciplining. But the rest of the time I was loud, gregarious, crazy, chasing the kids around the house with underpants on my head. I was nuts. But that's when everything was fun. That's why they didn't act out. Why would they want to lose fun mom? Why would the kids I worked with want to lose fun Lisa? Why would they want to? Because they knew, bang, fun Lisa was gone if they acted out. I'd just pull back instantly. Say, oh, I didn't like that. We'll just take a break for a minute here. They hated that. So yeah, fun is a real power. I used to say my weapon of choice with kids was humor. because that was what I used as my leadership tool. I was fun. I was funny, and kids like that, and they like having fun. And if the fun stops when they act out, they just stop acting out. It just happens. It's organic. It just happens. How to raise disciplined kids without being the authority mom without too much effort. So how to make this all easy? I don't have a clue. You got to work for that. You got to earn it. Anything worth getting is work. You got to work for this. So I don't know how to answer that really. It's work. If you're not, and the authority, I don't teach the authority. I teach leadership. The authority to me it's very outdated and it builds resentment. What's trendy right now is the pleaser. That's worse though. If you're going to err on either side, be the authority. They raise tougher young people. The pleasers raise self-entitled snowflakes who wet themselves when someone looks at them the wrong way. Mental health, weakness, and all that. Mental health is not a health. It's not a medical condition. It just means you're not as together, right? So it's not like saying it's not the same as a mental illness. When I say they have problems with mental health, they're just weaker. They're weaker. You didn't validate my feelings. Well, I'm just the bus driver lady. Like they're just so entitled and so fragile. You don't want that. That's what this trendy style is leading to. I predicted that 30 years ago, and here we are. Here we are. I hate being right about that, but here we are. Anyway, most young people are great, but this mental fragility is just an epidemic right now. Would the bedtime technique work on 22-month-old? Yeah, that's what it's designed for, is toddlers and older kids too. But yes, 22 months old. Not so much under that. Like around 2, it's designed for and up, but not like 18 months. It's harder because they're usually in a cot or in a crib. Sorry, I raised my kids in Australia. All my baby terms are Australian. Like it feels weird to say the word diaper. It's not a diaper over there. Oh, good one. I'm so glad you asked this. And wait, I'm confused. Then wouldn't timeouts work if they stop having fun to sit out? I hate timeout. No, timeout, they're excluded from everything. They're sent away. They are banished to the corner, nose in the wall, thinking about what they did. When I say the fun stops, I just get quiet for maybe a minute. I'm not talking to them. I'm still talking. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, we could do that. I just shift my energy really quickly. But that's not time out. It's different. I'm right there. And I'm not talking to them. So yeah, I just get real quiet. So timeouts, I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I think it's humiliating and mean, and I hate timeout. You're not even worth talking to. You're just garbage. Just go sit in the corner and look in the corner, nose to wall, and you think about what you did. Then afterwards, after 3 minutes is up, because you're 3 years old, it's a minute per year. Then we're going to discuss everything you did wrong. It's just awful. It's just negative. That little kid just feels like crap about himself. Self-esteem in the toilet. Someone told me, so someone told you that the 3 and under should make their own choices. Do you agree? What is your opinion? Well, yeah. Do you want an apple or an orange? Sure, they can make their own choices. Do you want to go to bed at 10 or 7? No, that's up to me. Let them make choices with the stuff that doesn't matter. Sure, there's a couple outfits here you can choose from. Which one do you want? But not, do you want to wear clothes today? Or you don't. You see what I mean? Yeah, choices are fine, but don't get too caught up in that. I know where you're going with that. Don't get too caught up in that. How much are one-on-ones, if you don't mind answering? Okay, so one-on-ones, I don't know. I never look at that. I have to look it up. Okay, so you're asking about coaching. Sorry, I just don't want to get it wrong. I don't know. Okay. So one session is $150. It's all US dollars because all my business expenses are US. 3 is 400 and 5 is 600. 5 sessions. That's how that goes. And then my courses, my new one filled up. So now I put it out there without the coaching, so you can still get it. That's $197 now. It is $497 with the coaching, but it filled up. So now I took the coaching away and I put the exact same, I had to change a few things obviously, but now it's 197 and that's 5 weeks teaching you how to be a calm leader. And then also, what people are doing is they're buying that, and then if they want clarification, then they will actually buy a session. So it's still cheaper than the course with group coaching. Group coaching I love, but I didn't think about this. It fills up and then people can't get access to it. So, because I can't handle like too many people in the group coaching, right? So anyway, that's everything I've got out there that costs you money. Courses and coaching. Okay. And if you're only hiring me for one session, you got to take notes. I work up a sweat when people hire me for one session. If I think most people do upgrade, but if I'm only getting you, some people just want to take you out for a test drive, right? So if I'm getting you for one session, I literally work into a sweat because I think, how am I going to get all this information thrown at you in one session? And I know I shouldn't do that. Like I know I shouldn't do that to myself. But anyway, be prepared to take notes. That's all I'm saying. I'll do the best I can. Do you like the show Super Nanny? Well, I don't watch anything like that. The only reason I know about that show is I've been approached a couple times now by big networks to do the same kind of show, but with teenagers, which I had to turn down because, well, I didn't turn it down. They got rid of me because I insisted on creative control. I said, I can't embarrass teenagers on national TV. They'll kill themselves, right? Why would I do that? And then they thought, well, that's what they want. That's the ratings, is all the scenes are the ratings. So that's not going to, I haven't seen anyone else do that. So I watched her for a while. We have very different styles, but she knows how to get respect. Her package works very well with her, but it wouldn't work with me. She's not a mom for one thing, and she deals with younger children. I can just tell, and I looked it up. So, and she's great at what she does. Don't get me wrong. She knows what she's doing, but she's not a mom. And she just deals with young ones. So my specialty is really teenagers. That's where I started my business. So we're very different in our styles, but she knows how to get respected. My way isn't the only way, by the way. Do I think it is? Wouldn't I be an arrogant piece of work if I did? I think there's lots of, like religion, lots of different religion and color. Lots of it. It's okay if you're black, white, purple, striped. I don't care. We're all allowed to be different. We all operate differently. So if my methods don't resonate with you, you may go, oh my God, she's too much to handle. Move on, go to someone else. I want you to get results, whether it's with me or someone else, I don't know. My results are, my results, but so, whatever. So we're all different. Yeah, Super Nanny knows what she's doing. She knows how to get respect. Don't you feel sorry for her working with the parents though? Like, don't you feel like I was watching her and I totally get where she's coming from. The parents are so distraught, and plus they're on TV. I would find that very difficult, embarrassing. I'm pretty hard on my parents sometimes, but I couldn't do that on TV. Like I would be very uncomfortable doing that on TV. I wouldn't know how to, she's done it very well. I just know I would struggle with that. Because all I'd be thinking is these kids are going to grow up and see all this, and I'd just be, because I work on teenagers, right? So that I'm always thinking everything I teach is based on teenagers. I want to get you to those years. Well, I want you to sail through the teen years like I did. There's the odd hiccup and nothing to write home about. But yeah, I'm always working backwards. So. I have no idea what you're talking about. How to make my 6-year-old respect boundaries. That's the same question as before. Touching others and being in their bubble. So you mean like they have a bubble around them and he's not allowed to touch like that? Like that's what you say? I don't know, but I would say, look, there's a consequence for that. If there's no consequence, how are you going to learn? If someone told me, listen, never speed, I'd be speeding all the time if there was no consequence. We all learn through consequences. If someone said to me, look, you never have to pay your credit card bill ever. We'd like you to, but you never do. Chances are I might not. Actually, I would anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Consequences is how we learn. Where's the consequence for touching other people? Where's the consequence for being in their bubble? Make sure there's a consequence. There has to be. If there were no speeding tickets, wouldn't we all go crazy? You see what I'm saying? We all operate that way. Why do you not think kids do? You think you should just tell them something? Would you do that? Never speed. I just don't want you to. How would that work on you? The only reason that you don't is because you might get a ticket, because it's a concept. We all operate. Think about it. We all operate. You expect more from your kids sometimes than you do of yourselves. We're going to get kicked out of our apartment if we don't pay rent. If we don't pay the mortgage, we lose the house. You see what I'm saying? Everything is about we don't pay our taxes, we go to jail. Everything we do, we learn through consequences, and yet you expect your kids just to do what you tell them for no reason. You see how that? See? Do you have a story about your hardest coaching moment? Absolutely. Oh God. I can't tell it though. Anyway, I had to cut it short and the police were called. Yeah, it was a long time ago. It's not the only time it's happened, but when I realized right away what had happened, the mother had no idea why she was hiring me. She was very confused. And within about 15 minutes, I had it figured out and the police were brought in. It was horrendous. As bad as it can get. Anyway, that was horrible, but I can't talk about that. But the stuff that I find most upsetting not upsetting, but the most challenging in my business, just without the crisis work. The crisis work I specialize in, but that's not the majority of my clients are just right? They're not crisis work. But the most challenging thing I deal with, you won't believe what it is. It's not people fighting, not parents fighting. It's not bullying. It's mom guilt. Mom guilt. Because they just can't let go of it. They just can't let go of the guilt and work forward. You can't go forward when you're always going backward. So that is my biggest challenge, I would say, on a daily basis, is mom guilt. Isn't that funny? Like, it's not the most upsetting by any means because I do crisis work, right? So, but it is the biggest common challenge that I go through in my business. And boy, oh boy, I'm like, stop feeling guilty. Move forward. You know what? After working with me, if you still feel guilty, wallow in it. But for this 5 weeks or whatever we're working together, drop it. It's just going to get in your way. It's going to completely ruin everything we're working on. Drop it. And then at the end of 5 weeks, if you still have it, then we can talk about it. Sure enough, at the end of 5 weeks, they don't have it anymore. So, I mean, we're all going to have a little bit. That's just normal. But anyway. I'm out here in the trenches with you for sure. You said that about who? The Perez's. It's horrible. Perez's. What's horrible? 18-month-old throws herself and screams, which doesn't get her way. Suggestions? Yeah, no suggestions. Just restrain them when they're getting violent. So they can't hurt themselves or hurt others or damage property. You just restrain them. At 18 months, I'd pick them up facing away from me and hold the back of their head so they can't headbutt. Then I'd just walk around, maybe humming, like you don't even know they're there. You're walking around like they're not even there. So you're still ignoring them. You're not talking to them. You're still ignoring them, but you're just restraining them so they can't do any damage. I actually have 2 courses that might be of interest to you. One is the toddler ones. One is, what am I doing here? Oops, wrong one. One is toddler tantrum busting, and the other one is toddlers who bite, hit, etc. But that's not when they're tantruming. If they just normally bite. But the one that sells the most is the potty training one. Potty train in 2 days. I trained my son how to potty train in 1 day. Never had an accident. No night diapers, nothing. And then my daughter was 2 days, and then she had an accident, but it was my fault because I didn't bring the porta potty. Just wait, we'll be home soon, and my fault. I'll tell you a funny story about that, though. My son had just been potty trained, and we were at the supermarket in the checkout. Now, I didn't have any diaper, no pull-ups, nothing, because I think once you train him, that's it. And you could see him moving around in the seat in the shopping cart because he wasn't used to nothing being on his bum. It was just his little bare bum and some underwear and shorts. He was used to sitting on like a diaper. So anyway, it was really cute. So he kept moving around and touching his bum. He couldn't figure out why it was cold. Anyway, we get to the checkout and I got tons of, I had a family to feed. I had all these groceries and that. And he says to me, and in Australia, where I raised my kids, supermarkets are not independent. They are attached to a mall. They're inside a mall. So they don't have their own bathroom or anything. So anyway, this supermarket was at the end of the mall and the bathrooms were at the other end. He says to me in the checkout, just about to pay for all these groceries, I have to poo. And I said, okay, we'll just pay for and he says, I have to poo now. Well, and I just kind of froze, and these other moms around, they were all moms there, and they just say, we'll take care of it, just run. I grabbed him and ran with him to the end of this mall, hung him over the toilet, and just got him there in time. Anyways, I went back and they were laughing. They said, yeah, it's not the first time that's happened, but he didn't have any pull-ups on or anything. So anyway, but he never had an accident. 1 day, and it's a party. Potty training should be a party. A 3-year-old is throwing food and hitting his teacher and me. Any advice, please? Yeah, 3-year-old throwing food in so he's out of control. Start if you're doing this on your own, just start with the behavior board. It starts at the age of 3, and you do 1 rule per week. You're just starting to learn how to be a leader. Remember, we're never fixing kids, we're setting you up as a leader. That stuff just wouldn't happen if you're a leader. So yeah, it's leadership is everything. You lead, they will follow. They just will. They just do. It's just a natural instinct for them to want a leader. They want, crave, and need leadership. They won't ask for it. But what they're going to do is if you're not leading them, they'll start to lead, or even worse, they'll look to peers and bullies for leadership. They just do. Or they'll look to the drug dealer on the corner, the Kardashians, the internet. They're going to go searching out a leader somewhere. They naturally need a leader. It's just the way it is. What time is it? Okay, it's been an hour, so I have to go. Anyway, if you go on my website, my new course is now available to everybody. It had been stopped. It was full, so it stopped. And now I put it out there without the group coaching. So it's a greatly reduced price without the group coaching. But it's still the exact same course. But so now you can get access to that, because I know I got all these emails that's filled up. So now it's out there while I'm running through with the other group. Anyway, then the other courses are there, or my coaching one-on-one Zoom if you want that. And or the behavior board, that's completely free, as is the TikTok doesn't pay me to do this. I'm on here because I like talking to you. This is my meditation every day. I find this very relaxing, except when I talk about mini therapy sessions. Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again next time. Bye now.